Hi, mining community. Welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast, the show that brings you the latest insights, thought leadership, and stories from across the global mining industry. In today's episode, we speak to Anthony Viljoen, who returns to the podcast to provide an update on the progress being made at Andrada Mining as the company continues to advance its ambition of becoming a leading African critical minerals producer. We discussed the operational improvements behind the record tin production at the Uis Mine, the impact of new ore sorting circuit, exploration progress at Brandberg West and Lithium Ridge, strategic partnerships with global industry leaders, and the key operational, technical, and corporate milestones investors should be watching over the remainder of the year. Anthony, great to have you on the podcast again. How are you doing?
Hello, Rob. Yeah, good to see you again. Great to be on the podcast. I've been following all your podcasts with a lot of interest, and it's great to be back here and to talk Andrada.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, as an avid listener, you know how all this works. I want to just tell us a little bit about your career. Obviously, you've been on the podcast before, probably a few years ago. So for those that didn't actually listen to that previous episode, appreciate if you can go back and listen to that episode. But for our newer audience, just wondering, just tell us a little bit about your career, how you got into the industry, how your sort of career's developed over the years to what it is today.
Yeah, Rob. So look, I've been grown up in the mining industry. My father and my uncle were both world-renowned geologists and responsible for a number of significant mineral discoveries. We took on the business side of developing projects. So the company's been going, the number of companies have been going since 2006. So nearly 20 years in April. So we've done it with a lot of success. We've developed one of the most significant vanadium projects in the world. But Andrada is something special. We took Andrada on with a view of building a mining company around some really special historic assets in Namibia. We've done that really successfully. That strategy is coming to the fore now, and we are on the cusp of really breaking out of the junior mining space and into something quite unique. I think that will entice AIM investors.
Right. Just wondering if you can give us an overview or snapshot of Andrada Mining.
So Andrada's based in Namibia, one of the best mining jurisdictions in Africa to invest in. We consolidated a number of historic mines that were all, the base load was around tin exploration and development. And we've consolidated those into a vehicle. But what we found is that the geology there is quite unique, and that associated with the tin is a number of these other critical minerals. So things like lithium, tungsten, copper, tantalum. So what started off as this consolidation of historic tin mines is turning into a district scale mineralized province, very much similar to what you would expect in Cornwall. But we've got all of those Cornish assets all sort of basically under one banner in Namibia, close to the port, good infrastructure, fully permitted, operational, and we really are in an exciting phase of our development.
What operational improvements contributed most to the record quarterly tin production at Uis? And how will you achieve, obviously, further increases?
Yeah, Rob. So we started the operation essentially as a pilot plant, and then that turned into a production plant. Then we doubled production from there. The nature of the plant is that it's a gravity-based plant, so it relies a lot on flow dynamics. So there are always areas where we can improve on. The main area that we're trying to look at now is the front end of the circuit. Is that the front end of the circuit is basically the trick to this ore body is moving a huge amount of tonnage as efficiently as possible through the circuit. So you want your crushers basically to be optimized. So we're looking to optimize the crushing circuit now. And then very, very critically is in integrating an ore sorting circuit into the current operation. Basically, we'll get rid of 80% of the waste up front, and that makes the whole concentrated part of the circuit a lot more efficient. So you remove that front end bottleneck, and it allows free flow of tonnage and gets a lot better efficiencies in your concentrating circuit.
Obviously, continuing talking about the circuit, can you just tell us a little bit more about the ore sorting technology you're obviously implementing and the impact you expect to have on production?
Yeah, so look, the ore sorter, it's an X-ray transmission circuit. So basically, it picks out the high density particles within your ore body. We run that over a conveyor belt, and then that basically extracts the waste parts of that circuit, and then feeds the high grade material into the circuit. So that basically upgrades your feed into the circuit by about 2 to 3 times. So as I said, that gives you a lot more efficiencies. That should increase our throughput by about 60%. And obviously, with what that achieves is it dilutes your fixed costs, so it makes everything a lot more profitable and a lot more efficient, with not a lot of extra capacity from an infrastructure point of view. So we've taken a bit of time to get it right, and reconfigured the front end a little bit so that we could accommodate the new crushers. So it hasn't all gone according to plan, as it never does, but we're there now.
Great. I guess a lot of our audience will be wondering what's the status of the court case against Gröntega Mining?
So, look, we're not directly involved with that. You know, we've got a partnership with Gröntega. We had an arrangement where we would build a separate facility at our plant to accommodate that. We do note, obviously, the ongoing court case that is there between the local conservationists and Gröntega Mining. We hopefully, but in the next quarter or two, we will have a resolution there. But we do believe that mining and conservation should coexist, and we would like to obviously provide a solution for both parties and to better the economy for the local communities as much as possible.
This episode is sponsored by Mining International. In today's market, finding the right mining talent isn't easy. Mining International works closely with mining companies to identify and secure senior and technical professionals through a tailored search approach. If you're hiring or exploring your options, you can contact Rob Tyson via the show notes to start a conversation today.
Brandberg West is not just tin, but copper and tungsten mineralisation. What drilling has been conducted to date, and what other plans are in place for the work programme?
Rob, Brandberg West is very similar to Uis. It was a historical mine. It was owned by Goldfields at one stage and mined specifically for tungsten and tin. But what we've found since we've been in there is that there's also associated copper. So once again, it's a polymetallic ore body, which means that you get the benefits of three different elements and three different mineral cycles all in one. Obviously, with the tungsten market as crazy as it is at the moment, it lends credence to obviously this mine being resurrected as quickly as possible. So as part of the program, we're going to be doing a drilling program, obviously, and to identify the extent of the resource. We're doing a metallurgical test work, so bulk sample program, and then that will give us a very clear idea of whether we can bring parts of it or the entire mine back into production as quickly as possible, so that our shareholders can benefit from the tin and the tungsten developments, but then also having the benefit of copper. So you'll have all of your critical minerals under one banner.
I suppose carrying on, I just wonder if you can provide some more information on obviously on the potential low capex route to production identified by Brandberg West, and how this differs from conventional tin development pathways.
So if you see the development of Andrada, we started off Uis as basically just a pilot plant, and then we rapidly scaled that up into production, and then rapidly doubled that production. So, we have the know-how, we have the sort of internal capabilities of executing large-scale projects. We understand the ore bodies, we understand how to operate in Namibia. So, we do have the capabilities of identifying pathways to early production.
Wondering just expand on the initial XRT ore sample results of test work and how this could accelerate the development timeline of Brandberg West. Obviously, with funding now secured for the construction and commissioning of the ore sorting.
Yeah, so we do have a fully operational ore sorter at Uis, at the main operations. So we have run test work programs on the ore. The ore at Brandberg West is very conducive to ore sorting. It's very similar to what we are planning at Uis. So we have run some test campaigns, and the results have been remarkable. So even better than what we've seen at Uis, because you've got these very localized veins that host the mineralization. So we're very confident that the ore sorting solution will be uh, an enhancer massively at Brandberg West, um, and will change the way that ore body is viewed. Very similar to Uis, but at from the historic mining to where we are now, it will enhance the pre-concentration of that ore body.
Just wondering if you can tell us about the recent diamond drilling program at Lithium Ridge and the significance of recent results presenting obviously near surface intersection grades.
Rob, Lithium Ridge is fantastic. It really is one of the standout sort of bits of luck, let's call it. I don't know, you need a bit of luck in this game, but it really is one of the standout projects in our portfolio. Lithium Ridge, it is a new lithium discovery. We identified the ridge in our early exploration programs. We tested it, we drilled it out, and we found that the mineralization extends along strike for 6 kilometers and at depth. So we entered into a partnership with SQM. They're the second biggest lithium miners globally. They've been conducting an extensive drilling program under our guys at Lithium Ridge. That we've drilled something like 16,500 meters to date. And it's basically confirmed everything that we wanted it to confirm. High grade mineralization, along strike, at depth. This is going to be one of the most significant lithium discoveries in Southern Africa in the last 4 years.
Great. And what are the next milestones for asset development?
So, we are uniquely blessed now, Rob. We've got an operational asset at Uis. We're expanding production. We are buoyed by tailwinds of the high tin price, and bearing in mind we've been looking at tin for the last 20 years. So, this is everything coming together all at once, which is fantastic. We're increasing production. We've increasing the size of the resource. We're looking to integrate a lithium circuit at Uis in partnership with the European Investment Bank. So there's a lot of news going to come out from Uis and the production and the cash flows, and very importantly, the cash flows at Uis. The Lithium Ridge is the finalization of the assaying and the extension, hopefully, of the partnership with SQM. So that is going to be coming out in the next couple of quarters. And then the early work from Brandberg West, I'm already quite excited by what I've seen out there. So we're hoping to build on that success and see what comes out of Brandberg West, and be able to add another 2 minerals to our quiver of critical minerals. So there's going to be a lot of news now. We are at the cusp of a breakout, in my view, from the junior space into something more mature. So it's a great place to be for a CEO.
The drilling program has obviously also confirmed the potential production of tin and tantalum as byproducts. How important could this be to the overall project economics, particularly in the current pricing environment?
Look, the commodity game is always boom and bust. Luckily enough, we're entering to a whole new paradigm with critical minerals from a geopolitical point of view. So, having the different array of minerals that we've got allows any sort of fluctuations to be smoothed out. So, the ability to produce and sell various commodities into the market at once uh, gives us obviously a competitive advantage. The fact that we are the only listed tin producer on AIM, also gives investors direct exposure to the buoyant tin market. So, it's positions us well from an investor point of view.
Um, Andrada has attracted support from a number of obviously organisations, which you've alluded to, including SQM, ACAM, and the European Investment Bank. Beyond funding support, what other benefits do these strategic partners bring?
Whilst SQM, they literally are the lithium game in the world. So, there's a wealth of knowledge that they bring along to the party. There's a great sort of understanding in terms of the different technical teams and the nuances in terms of unlocking the value there. So, very much the technical partnerships. The EIB obviously opens up the European market to the company. So, we've been very careful in terms of who we've partnered with, so that it's not only the monetary benefits that in terms of unlocking the value of the project, but also technical and strategic benefits for unlocking the projects.
Yeah, we were just speaking off air before recording this, and we were speaking about the AIM market, and maybe it might be getting having a little bit of a resurgence. What would you like to see happen in the AIM market? I guess over the short to medium term, maybe over the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, Rob, look, we've been operating at AIM now for nearly 15 years. So AIM it has had a bad run. It's lost a lot of liquidity. It's lost a lot of trust. But we want to rebuild that trust. We want to be the trailblazers in terms of getting AIM great again, if I can say that. I do believe that there is an opportunity now for retail investors to come back into the market. I think that with the flurry of interest in critical minerals, I think that there is a unique chance now for AIM to reassert itself as the dominant mining market globally. There's still a lot of money sitting in London looking to be deployed. And, rather than invest in Toronto and Australia, everybody's got to come back to London.
Certainly. And I suppose lastly, what are the key operational and technical milestones across all the assets that investors and stakeholders should look out for from now until the end of the year and beyond?
So we touched on it earlier, Rob. The key one is driving cash flows at Uis, improving production capabilities at Uis. The firm are all really dedicated now in terms of executing our projects. We're fully financed. We've on the equity and the debt side, basically to execute on these. We have the team in place capable of executing these projects. So Uis, critical is execution, and then delivery of upgrading the resource and integrating the lithium. Very clear on Uis, Lithium Ridge, completing the drilling program, getting assets to the market, and furthering the partnership with SQM. With Brandberg West, we've got a drilling program, a metallurgical program, and we want to identify as quickly as possible a route to production for Brandberg West. So with those three projects, there's going to be a lot of news flow. There's going to be a lot of development and a lot of growth for the company. And, we really want to make sure that we are well placed for investors to benefit from that.
Great. Anthony, really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the podcast again, sharing your story. obviously talking about Andrada Mining, and obviously your projects, the Uis Mine, Brandberg West and Lithium Ridge, and obviously wish you well for the remainder of the year. If our audience wants to reach out to you, obviously ask you any questions about the projects and about the company, and obviously follow the news flow, how can they go about doing that, and what social media platform channels do you advertise on?
So we're on all social media, so LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. So we're on all of those platforms. We do have a YouTube channel. We do try and obviously put content out as often as possible, and we will be stepping that up in the course of the development over the next 6 months. So there will be a lot of different platforms that all of your listeners can have access to.
Yeah, great. And we'll include those in the show notes accompanying this episode for easy access. So all the best for the year. We're only halfway through. So
Yeah.
you've got another challenging 6 months, but I'm sure you'll achieve your objectives, and hopefully you can come on the podcast next year and give us an update.
Thank you, Rob. I look forward to updating you with all of the developments once we've executed.
Yeah, great. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed that episode. As always, appreciate your continued support. Please keep sharing these episodes far and wide. Obviously, we were speaking about mining in Africa, but we need to educate the global mining industry. So appreciate those that are listening from anywhere around the world to share with their colleagues and people that they know in the industry this episode and all the other episodes that we produce. So thank you again for listening. Appreciate your support. And until next time, happy mining.